A single builder is attempting to construct two complete, weathertight structures by hand before the harsh winter arrives. He starts by framing the vertical walls of the first cabin directly on the completed wooden deck. Precision at this foundational stage is critical. Even a slight deviation at the base plate will multiply as the walls rise, compromising the structural integrity of the roof later on. Working solo requires a distinct, deliberate rhythm. He measures, cuts, and fastens the heavy wooden beams in a continuous, calculated loop. Using a combination of traditional hand tools and modern chainsaws allows him to efficiently process the rough timber on site. The framework goes up piece by piece. Driving long nails by hand provides a level of tactile feedback that pneumatic nailers often mask. He can physically feel the grain of the wood bite and hold the fastener. A window frame is installed to break the solid wall line. This isn't just about admitting natural light into the space. Strategic openings allow for passive cross-ventilation, a necessity for preventing condensation and moisture buildup within an enclosed wooden shell. Securing the window headers properly ensures the heavy load of the roof won't crush the glass beneath it. The skeleton of the first shelter is rapidly taking shape, but an exposed wooden frame offers zero protection against the shifting weather. The envelope must be sealed. With the roof structure taking shape overhead, the focus shifts to enclosing the cabin's exterior. He fits a solid wooden door before securing the horizontal siding across the framing. Working sequentially from the bottom up, each wooden plank slightly overlaps the one below it. This overlapping method is a centuries-old technique designed to shed rainwater efficiently, constantly pushing moisture away from the vulnerable interior frame. The red corrugated metal roofing panels are cut to exact dimensions and fastened to the overhead rafters. Corrugated steel is lightweight, highly durable, and exceptional at shedding heavy snow loads during the colder months. Extending the living footprint, he constructs an open porch frame. A covered porch acts as a vital transition zone. It keeps mud, snow, and driving rain away from the main entryway, protecting the interior floor from rot. The exterior envelope is finally closing. simple exterior details often serve crucial structural functions. He measures, cuts, and installs custom wooden trim around the outer window frame. This process isn't merely decorative. The thick wooden border acts as an essential flashing layer. It covers the vulnerable gap between the rough siding and the window casing, creating a barrier against water infiltration and harsh wind drafts. In a remote build, every exposed seam must be carefully sealed. Outside the finished walls, he digs into the soil to plant a young tree, securing its base with a deliberate circle of heavy stones and a wooden cross brace. The stones serve as a natural thermal mass. They absorb sunlight throughout the day and slowly radiate warmth to the fragile roots during the cold nights. Moving inside, he applies expanding foam sealant deep into the remaining gaps between the wooden planks. The foam rapidly cures and expands, creating an airtight barrier that effectively stops thermal bridging and prevents drafts from piercing the timber joints. After sweeping out the accumulated sawdust and construction debris, the raw space begins to change character. A vibrant floral rug is unrolled and heavy matching curtains are hung across the interior sections. These textiles do significantly more than soften the rugged wooden aesthetic. Dense fabrics trap a layer of dead air against the floor and walls, acting as a powerful secondary form of insulation against the impending cold. The careful connection of a gas line finalizes the utility setup. The first cabin is fully transformed from a rough timber shell into a heavily insulated, functional sanctuary. With the first cabin complete, he breaks ground on a second, more ambitious structure. Before the foundation frame can be fully assembled, he applies a thick, black tar-like sealant to the ends of the wooden beams. This heavy coating creates a waterproof barrier, preventing the raw end grain from wicking moisture directly out of the damp soil and rotting the wood over time. Heavy metal L-brackets are bolted into place to reinforce the critical joints. Using steel hardware ensures the frame can withstand significant shear forces and the shifting weight of a completed building. The power saw makes quick work of the dimensional lumber, establishing a rigid square base for the new walls. Securing the overhead support beams creates a stable, unified skeleton. He transitions immediately to lifting and installing the heavy horizontal wall planks along the exterior. By fastening these wide planks directly to the vertical posts with a combination of structural screws and heavy nails, the walls themselves function as massive shear panels. They permanently lock the entire wooden structure together, preventing the tall frame from racking, leaning, or twisting under the pressure of high winds. Building these solid walls from the ground up rapidly encloses the space, defining the final architectural volume of the second cabin. As the heavy roof structure goes up, the immediate priority shifts to absolute weatherproofing. He carefully unrolls sheets of black waterproof roofing material across the angled upper deck. This continuous, overlapping membranes serves as the primary line of defense against driving rain, ensuring no standing moisture can penetrate the delicate wooden ceiling below. Inside, the relentless pace of construction continues well into the evening. He uses a high-speed power sander to smooth the interior timber walls, meticulously removing rough splinters and preparing the natural wood grain to accept future protective sealants. The introduction of a portable LED work light stretches the viable workday far past dusk, a harsh necessity as the short days begin to turn. A small, heavy cast iron stove is brought inside and fired up. Cast iron is unparalleled for this specific environment. Its dense material retains intense thermal energy long after the actual flames have burned down to glowing embers. Laying the final smooth floorboards around the base of the active stove secures the interior perimeter. The raw wooden space is finally capable of holding its own heat. The defining architectural feature of the second cabin is its custom arched entrance. He uses a cordless drill to secure a horizontal wooden baseplate directly into the finished floorboards, establishing a perfectly rigid foundation for the complex door frame. Absolute precision at this stage dictates whether the heavy wooden door will swing smoothly or eventually bind on its hinges as the seasons change. Framing an arch requires significantly more calculation and labor than a standard rectangular opening. But the curved profile of the entrance isn't just a stylistic choice. Rounded geometric shapes distribute compressive forces far more efficiently, actively redirecting the immense downward weight of the roof structure away from the vulnerable center of the doorway and straight down into the heavy vertical support beams. He methodically prepares and fits the wooden trim pieces, demanding a seamless integration. He attaches the outer wooden panels and the final curved trim to the arched frame, meticulously enclosing the rough structural gaps left behind during framing. To ensure an impenetrable weather seal, he runs a circular saw straight along the edge of the heavy wooden door. This technique creates a smooth, flush finish that will sit perfectly tight against the inner door jamb, blocking out the wind. A massive black metal hinge is screwed directly into the solid wood grain. Industrial-grade steel hardware is absolutely required to carry the extreme cantilevered weight of a custom solid-core door without slowly sagging over time. Stepping outside, he physically inspects the exterior trim above the large glass window, checking the perimeter for any subtle air leaks. Sweeping the thick layer of accumulated sawdust from the cabin floor officially marks the end of the heavy structural fabrication phase. Inside the cabin, he finishes securing the heavy-duty hinges to the door frame, locking the heavy entryway into its permanent swing path. He then tests the stability of a folding wooden table mounted directly to the wall studs. Wall-mounted, fold-away furniture maximizes the limited floor space, turning a narrow corridor into a functional dining or workspace in a matter of seconds. With the exterior structures fully enclosed, the focus turns entirely to aggressive climate control. He unrolls wide sheets of reflective foil insulation across the bare interior wooden walls. Unlike traditional porous fiberglass, this crinkled metallic barrier works by physically reflecting radiant heat back into the living space, drastically reducing winter energy loss. Directly over this foil layer, he installs smooth, light-colored, horizontal wooden paneling. This rigid inner skin acts as a shield, protecting the delicate insulation while providing a beautifully finished, durable interior surface. The rigorous craftsmanship extends to the smallest interior details. Using a circular saw, he cuts a precise arched profile directly into the finished wooden wall panels, perfectly matching the complex geometry of the exterior doorway. Next, he guides a high-speed electric hand planer across a rough wooden board. The spinning blades shear off microscopic layers of wood, smoothing the rough surface while exposing the dense, tight grain beneath, perfectly preparing it for a custom seating bench. He measures, cuts, and fastens the rigid wooden frame for the new bench directly to the interior floorboards and the paneled walls, building functional furniture directly into the cabin's structural framing provides unmatched physical rigidity. It ensures the bench remains a permanent fixture that will never wobble or shift under heavy daily use. He uses a cordless drill to fasten the final protective wooden trim pieces around the arched doorway. Just as the surrounding environment drastically shifts, a light dusting of snow on the frozen ground and a heavy boot print signal the immediate, unforgiving onset of winter. The timing of the build is critical. With the exterior chimney pipe fully installed and the black metal stove securely operating inside, the cabin is finally ready for the cold. He steps outside into the freezing, overcast air and pulls the massive wooden arched door tightly shut. The thick timber seals the opening, trapping the valuable thermal energy inside and definitively locking the harsh winter winds out. The ultimate payoff for weeks of grueling, methodical physical labor requires only a single, simple motion. He inserts a plug into the bright white wall outlet, instantly flooding the dark, paneled interior with warm electrical light. The combination of modern LED lighting, the hidden reflective foil insulation, and the intensely glowing cast-iron stove creates an impenetrable, radiant pocket of warmth against the freezing, snow-covered forest outside. He stands quietly inside the illuminated sanctuary, taking a moment to inspect the finished wooden floorboards and the tightly sealed walls. Every complex joint he cut, every steel nail he drove, and every exterior seam he meticulously sealed is now actively working together to keep the freezing temperatures at bay. What began as a scattered pile of raw dimensional timber and a muddy patch of remote forest is now a fully functioning, highly insulated habitat. In the end, structure, landscape, and daily routine operate as one cohesive system, a place that produces, protects, and sustains itself against the longest, coldest nights of the year.